Hello. Thank you for being in my chat. Whomever you are, please hit the thumbs up. And you're welcome to make a comment if you'd like to. First off, I'm going to add, it's kind of hard to see there, the copyright fair use disclaimer. Hi, Viper Orca. There's the fair use disclaimer, and I will remove that because everything in here is I don't know how to close that up. Got it. Ha. I knew I'd figure it out. Okay. Something's not sitting right in my mouth. Okay. So let me. I don't know what's going on over there. I stopped it. Okay. So what's going on here is I have been looking at the Sebastian Rogers, Summer Wells, and the Michael Monkey Vaughn case. And I found 14 similarities in the case, the three cases, and one huge difference. So I'm going to do a share screen. You've got me looking at me. Okay. So I hope you can hear this. I don't know. Let me hide this. All right, there we go. All right, so I'll explain in my video the similarities that I found as I go through this, and I'll put little videos as my receipts. Okay, so let's go. Try number 3. I keep going into telling my whole story, and I forget that I want to put video marks inside here. I'm so sorry about this. Okay, so I've been trying to get involved in 3 missing children's cases. Summer Wells, Michael Vaughn, and Sebastian Rogers. Okay, Summer Wells went missing just days after her 5th birthday in June of 2021. Monkey Vaughn went missing just days after his 5th birthday in July of 2021. Sebastian went missing like within a month or 2 after his 15th birthday in 2024. So, okay, the similarities here with these 3 cases. Okay, first off is they went missing close to being right after their birthday. The second being, in the Summer Wells case, Candace was the only one home with the kids at the time that Summer went missing. Now, she said that she took Summer in the house for the 3 older children to watch after while she went to help her mother with her knee brace or something outside. Then Candace said when she came back in 2 minutes later, she immediately went looking for Summer. She couldn't find her. She hollered downstairs. Summer wasn't there. I'll show you the video clip here. But my thought was, are you sure Candace, it was after 6 o'clock in the evening. You sure Candace didn't go in and start supper and whatever and then realize, hey, where's Summer? And then start looking for Summer? I don't know. But let's look at this little video of Candace talking to Dr. Phil, and you decide what you think about what Candace is saying.
If I understand correctly what you said, you took Summer in the front door,
Yes.
and you said to the 3 boys, keep an eye on Summer.
Yes.
Okay. Then you did what?
Then I went back outside to my mom's camper, which was right next to the house. And I had to fix a knee brace for her.
Okay. She had knee brace on?
Yeah.
And that took?
2 minutes.
Okay. And then what'd you do?
I went back in my house.
When you went back in, what'd you see?
The 3 boys sitting there watching TV.
Okay. And no Summer?
No Summer.
Okay. What'd you do then?
I asked the boys where she was at. And they told me that she went downstairs to play with her toys.
Okay. Would she do that? Would she say, hey, I'm going downstairs to play with my toys, or would she just go?
You know, she told the boys.
What'd you do then?
Well, I hollered for her at first.
And no response.
No response.
So what'd you do?
So I went directly down there. I looked for everywhere I could look. In the room, under the blankets, whatever. And she was gone.
All right. What's the way to get out of there besides coming back upstairs?
Just the basement door.
The back door?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Okay, did you notice that Candace said she looked everywhere, in the room, under the covers, everywhere. She couldn't find Summer. And then the only way to get out was through that basement door. All right. So there we are. Next, we're going to go to Michael, Monkey Vaughn. Tyler was home with the kids. The first interview where Michael actually tells his side of the story was a year after Monkey went missing. So let's hear what Michael has to say about Monkey going missing. Okay, this interview is going to be credit through News Nation, credit through True Crime with E. And I'll put the link in the description.
I
forgot to put the links in the description.
And a lot of people curious why, if you were the one at home, why you haven't done a lot of talking with the media. What's your response to people who want to know that question?
Because I was the one at home. I feel like because I was the responsible party, I don't like being in the public eye at all, and it's because I, to some extent, blame myself.
For most of the afternoon, Tyler says Michael played with his monster trucks. And Tyler says Michael played with his monster trucks and Nintendo Switch. And then around dinner time, he ordered a pizza and went down the hall to change the baby's diaper. When he came back out, Michael wasn't there.
Searched the house, searched the backyard, went out the front yard, jumped in the van, called Randy.
He says he raced around the neighborhood and was the one who called 911.
the Brooklyn police paid.
Okay, so we didn't see it in Candace's interview, but the first person she called was Dawn. I can't find Summer. You need to get home right now. Summer's gone. Then they called the police a few hours later. I don't know exactly how far. So then with Tyler, he searched the house, searched the backyard, searched the front yard, got in the truck, left, called Brandy. Let's see if we can find any similarities with what Katie did.
Can you recap the overall story of Sebastian's disappearance? Kind of walk through that day. Sunday, the day before he went missing. We got up and, fun fact, I made breakfast that morning. We had a good time. We were laughing, we were joking. He talked to family on the phone during breakfast. We went and picked up our niece. I got a call and asked if I could go pick her up. I did. And so we went and did that. I went to BJ's. Had a good time there. He called it out, so popcorn. Came home, put groceries away because we got snacks. We went to the bowling alley, and then from there we went to dinner. Came home. He took out the trash. That's his chore. He takes the can to the end of the driveway. About 9 o'clock, told him to go to bed. He was coming to his room where he was playing. He said, "All right, good night, Mama. Good night, puppies. Love you." He went to bed. He was doing something in his room because by now I heard some noise. I don't care what you're doing in there, but go to sleep. And about midnight, I got up and I went to bed. And 6 o'clock, I went to wake him up for school Monday morning. And that's when we went here.
What was going through your mind at that point? What were the feelings that you were feeling?
Just censor myself. Holy freaking crap, this can't be happening. Where's my kid? Choice words were used. For the F is you. I looked through the house for him because it was typical for him to get up and come and rush for snacks and things like that. And he likes to dip behind the, walls and and he comes out after I come back and he likes to see me. But after I looked, and mind you, all of this took place in 1 minute. But I didn't see him in his room. I looked all over and ran through the whole house and looked out all the doors and windows, and I was like hollering his name. I took the phone and called my husband. I said, I can't find him. And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "He's not in his effing house. Can't find him." And I jumped in the car and I drove over and I drove over back to school. And he's already, like, at this point, I was like hysterical. I was kind of screaming. And he was three-way law enforcement, and was telling them our son is missing.
Okay. So Katie was home with Sebastian alone. Chris was away. We know Seth was at work at the sheriff's department. Excuse me, Seth doesn't live there. Seth lives closer to Nashville than he does to Hendersonville. It's just a 30-minute drive, I guess. And Seth and Sebastian can see each other whenever they want. But Katie was the parent home, the guardian at the time. And the first person she calls, she took 1 minute to look through the house when Sebastian wasn't there the next morning. Then she calls her husband. "I can't find him." "What do you mean?" "I can't find our effing son." Who's going to talk about their child that way? Our effing son. I'm sorry. I'm getting off track here. So Katie talked to Chris on the phone, and then Chris is the one that supposedly called 911 doing a 3-way call. I think basically he just put her on hold, called law enforcement, and then came back to her call and told her they're on their way home. Get back up. They're on their way to the house. Get back home. And then he went back and told the police, talked more to the police. I don't know. I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt. Because if it had actually been a three-way call, Katie would have heard Chris stating to the law enforcement stating that they were on their way there and him telling them where they were. So anyway, that is the first similarity between all three of them. One parent home, the other parent something to do with work. Took just a minute to search for their child and then called their spouse and went looking for the child. Didn't stay home. They left to go looking for the child. I would have called 911 and then called my husband while I waited for 911 to get there. But that's just me. Yes, I've been in that situation. And no, I was not able to call 911 because I didn't have a phone. We didn't have cell phones then. But I did go to a neighbor's house and I did call 911. And then I called my mother to come and get me. And my other child that was home when my youngest child went missing. But at that time, we knew who took her. Her father had abducted her. And we did get her back. Thank goodness. But, okay. So now let's look at the second similarities between the three children. Okay, we saw in all three cases that the parents, let's say Candace, Tyler, and Katie, have all been quiet about this case and their involvement in the case because they all have admittedly said that they feel guilty, that they could have done more or should have done more. So they have stayed out of the public eye to avoid scrutiny and criticism. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Some people would say they should keep their face out there, keep telling their story, keep telling their truth, and keep being honest about what happened. And other people would say, stay out of the limelight because you're getting picked on. So it's just how they decide to choose to deal with it. Okay, another similarity that I just noticed, well, I didn't just notice, but it was on my list, was every time the guardian parent at the time of the disappearance is interviewed, the other parent is in the interview and does a lot of the talking. I don't understand that part of the case, any of them, because Chris wasn't supposedly, allegedly, Chris was not home at the time Sebastian went missing, but he apparently knows more about the case than anybody on the planet. Michael was home, or Tyler was home with Michael, but Brandy does more of the talking on the case than anybody else. I guess it's because she's the biological mother, but Tyler's also the biological father. In the Wells cases, you can't see it in the one interview you've seen me talk about, but throughout the history, Don Wells does most of the interviews. He wasn't even home. How can he know the most about what's going on when he wasn't even home? And then in each story, another similarity in each story is if I were to show you 3 different videos of the beginning of what happened to all of these children, 3 different videos on each child, the beginning of the timeline, you would see 3 different stories for each child of what happened at the beginning of the timeline. I don't know if that's because the involved parents, it all happened so fast that their mind just jumbled and they went into a panic and they couldn't keep their story straight. And then later, as they calmed down, they started getting the flashbacks and they're saying this happened. Oh yeah, I remember this now, and or whatever. It could happen. It could be. I'm just saying it could be. In the Summer Wells case, you don't ever hear the word love, ever. But in Monkey Vaughn's case, that day when his mama, Brandy, was getting ready to go to work, he was like, I love you, Mama. I want you to stay home and play with me. Stay with me, Mama. I've got to go to work, but I'll be home soon enough and I'll play with you for a couple of days. I promise. That's a promise she hasn't been able to keep, sadly. And then with Sebastian, he was supposed to go to bed. And he came in and said, good night. I love you, Mom. So they make it a point to say that the child said, I love you. I don't know why. Maybe that's comforting for them. Possible. But it is a similarity in the case. And in the Monkey Vaughn case, I don't know if they did any rallies. I haven't seen anything about rallies or prayer vigils or anything like that for Summer Wells. But they did motorcycle rallies and prayer vigils for Monkey Vaughn. And that's awesome. That's wonderful. They did a motorcycle prayer vigil and prayer vigils for Sebastian. And that's awesome. His biological father set those up. And that is very awesome. So that's another similarity is the vigils. Okay? Now, I don't know if there were ever any vigils for Summer Wells. But like I mentioned before, one of the similarities was all 3 parents called their spouse prior to calling 911. Why? I don't understand that. Maybe they had a panic moment or something. I don't know. But all 3 parents called the spouse before calling 911. All 3 parents went driving around looking for their child prior to 911 getting there. Of course, Brandy drove home and they went. Tyler had gone to the splash park and Brandy found the police and Tyler at the splash park. Tyler and Katie both panicked and couldn't think clear enough to call 911. I don't know. I didn't hear that from Candace Wells. So, but that's a similarity. Katie and Tyler and Candace are all 3 being accused by social media content creators. And they're all being, the justice says you're innocent until proven guilty.
Content creators are trying to say that the other way around. Content creators are trying to make it look like they're guilty until proven innocent. And my heart goes out to all these parents of these missing children. If we do find it out, trust me, if we had a green team and a bluebird team for all three cases, I would be on the green team for all three cases. That's just me. I'm not switching to the other side. I have nothing to do with any of the cases except I want to do what I can as an innocent little 5th grade peer mediator over here trying to say, you know, this is what I'm finding. Help me find more similarities. Okay. This suspect had an unusual day the day the children went missing. Now, in Summer Wells's case, they had gone to the swimming hole at the river. They had gone to the grocery store because they got milk. They had a friend over with the kids. They were planting flowers with grandma and all these unusual things. And then in Monkey's case, he was playing Nintendo Switch, and these video games with his brothers and his dad was playing the PlayStation or whatever.
What I don't understand is, how does Sebastian's dad know more? Or was it his stepdad? And also, who in their right mind would kidnap kids? Viper Orca, it was the stepdad who thinks he knows more than anybody else on the planet. And it's all of the parents. Sebastian's stepdad, Chris, thinks he has to control the whole narrative for the whole situation. Michael Monkey Vaughn's mom, Brandy, controls the whole narrative for the whole situation. And Don Wells, Summer Wells' dad, controls the whole narrative for the whole situation. That's the part I don't understand. And who in their right mind would kidnap a kid? I can't answer that question because I don't know. If you kidnap a kid, you're obviously not in your right mind, are you? Something's not right up there. That's a good question, though. You put forward some good questions. Thank you.
And they were all playing together in the living room. As a group, you know, they were all playing together on their electronics. And Monkey wanted to go outside and find some kids his own age to play with. When he saw that his dad was gone to check on the baby, he's smart enough at 5 years old to go out the door and go find a kid in the neighborhood to play with. And then Sebastian, they had the colossal popcorn day. And another similarity I've noticed is that none of the suspect parents called the child by name. Sebastian's biological father, Seth, calls Sebastian by name. And he says, I know he doesn't belong to anybody, but darn it, he's my son. Sebastian is my son. Seth calls Sebastian by name. Tyler, I've never heard him say Monkey's name at all. I've never heard him say Michael. I've never heard him say Monkey. I haven't heard him say. Now, I haven't heard all of his interviews either. Candace, I haven't ever heard her say Summer's name either, but I'm sure she has. I know I've seen them talk about the children, but I haven't heard them say anything about the children. And then in all three cases, show you some more video clips. Hold on just a minute.
You know, I would tell you that people like to deal in absolutes, and there's nothing about this case.
Sorry, I couldn't hear the question.
So we will continue to investigate all aspects and all avenues in this case. And, you know, as I've said before, the family continues to be extremely cooperative and working with our investigation. And so, yeah, I mean, that's just kind of where we're at. Tristan, you know, due to the number of searches with trained teams and the acreages searched, that is the reason why it was without success. That is the reason why we, you know, there's a possibility or a higher probability of abduction. That's what led us to that. Again, you know, as we continue to work through this thing, there are still no absolutes. So when I say everything's on the table, it's still on the table. Okay?
Where have we heard that before? Everything is on the table, still on the table. There are no absolutes.
I want to take a moment because it just came across my watch, reminded me. I am not of the Catholic faith. I was raised Baptist, so okay, there we go. But I want to say for everybody who is Catholic, or I guess, I don't know how to word this, but the Pope passed away last night or yesterday at some time. And I want to extend out prayers for anybody whose life that might affect. Because it was his time to go do his job in heaven, so he can't do it here on earth anymore. I didn't even know he was ill. But then again, I'm not Catholic, so I wouldn't know. But I just wanted to extend that for a moment.
Sounds like Sebastian Rogers' case. Let's go find out. Okay, this clip is going to be from News Channel 5 out of Nashville. And we're talking about, with Sheriff Craddock, about Sebastian Rogers.
Hostage search for Sebastian Rogers, but with few updates from authorities in recent weeks, some have wondered, is enough being done?
We're doing everything we can do. Every time a tip comes in, we follow up on it.
Eric Craddock is chief deputy with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and heads up the investigation. He sat down for an exclusive one-on-one to talk about what they do when there are few new leads.
I think in the absence of information, what we'll continue to do is go back over everything we've already done once. Put a fresh set of eyes on it.
To that end, Craddock says searchers recently found a pair of glasses, which they are checking to see if they belong to Sebastian. He says the parents continue to fully cooperate.
Any evidence of foul play? We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
I asked about exclusive home security video obtained from the neighborhood the night Sebastian disappeared. You can see two suspicious light sources, which we've circled here, in an area behind the teen's home. Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
And so it could play a role down the road depending on development?
We don't know what we don't know. So yes, it could play a role.
So many are, of course, closely following this case. How difficult has it been, all the noise on social media?
The the rumor mill on social media has done nothing to advance this case.
Craddock says investigators continue to work the case daily and deal not with feelings, but facts. And
Okay, this interview with law enforcement is from, I just had it on my mind, Inside Edition. I'm sorry. I just looked it up. Okay, it's from Inside Edition, and it's with an officer involved in the search for Summer Wells. Let's see what she has to say.
While we've not ruled out an abduction, we simply do not have any evidence at this point to confirm that's what occurred. It's possible that she wandered off and is lost and afraid.
Summer Wells is described as 3 feet tall, weighing 40 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes.
Okay, so the police are saying it's not an abduction, but it's not criminal either. So they're not giving us any information. It's the same story on all 3 children. Why? And then they're all saying that they can't share information with the public because it's an ongoing investigation, which I can understand that. But let me tell you the one thing. I got to pull this up. Hold on just a minute. Okay, this last clip I'm going to show you is courtesy of, allegedly, in my opinion, with Brittany J. Thank you, Brittany, for allowing the use of your video. I mean no disrespect. This is the way that Chris Proudfoot is talking about people who are trying to find and trying to help find Sebastian. People that are trying to get his name out there. This is how YouTube content creators are being.
Hello to the second person in chat. Please hit that thumbs up so that other people can see the chat. And you're welcome to comment if you'd like to.
Treated by the Proudfoot family for trying to help find Sebastian Rogers. Now, this does not include Seth Rogers, Sebastian's biological father. He has nothing to do with this. He is totally against the way Chris Proudfoot is treating people who are trying to search for Sebastian. Let's see what's going on Brittany J's page.
Hearing how the hate in his voice is really creepy. I mean, you don't have to sue him or anything. Just get a protection order against him. No. I agree. I agree. I want the stuff, Allegedly innocent says. Oh, Blue Bella, yeah. Mama Boom Boom probably illegally used her real estate license to check on property. Sue that heifer too. I don't know. I'm pretty curious. That kind of information is
You can see here that Brittany's panel and her guests are supporting Brittany by suggesting that she get an order of protection and suggesting that she get some way to protect herself from the things. Now, we haven't heard yet the things that Chris Proudfoot is saying. Hopefully, she'll get into playing them here in the video in just a moment.
I'd like to know, what is, CP, why don't you tell me what's your point in all that? Huh? What is it? What's your reasoning for, I've never given you a single reason. He doesn't scare me at all. No, I know you would. No, he would. His brain is totally warped. Like, what the hell is going on? That week, he doesn't scare me at all. I think he threatens to check our backgrounds or something like that. Well, check my background. I got nothing on my background. It's pretty squeaky clean.
I don't either. That's why he's got to talk about my property threats. I think you should get a protective order. Clue took the video down, but others reported it. I knew she would. I knew she would.
Oh, is it gone? Is it gone?
We have it.
She took it down?
Has the, yep.
Yep.
According to the
She took it down, or okay, because I checked it just a little while ago, but I was hoping it would get taken down for all the threats and bullshit in there.
Probably did, but had to take it herself so that way she wouldn't get a strike.
Oh, I thought she said she was going to put it on members only. The last I heard. Oh, let me just see here.
But
Go to the
you need to
secret spot.
test yourself with this. You really do. This is not a lasting lesson coming from that crazy person.
Yeah, Brittany, I told you I'm not scared of him, but I would be scared of him if he said the things about me that he said about you. I really would
Just
take it serious.
Yeah,
Just hearing how the hate in his voice is really creepy. I mean, you don't have to sue him or anything. Just get a protection order against him. No.
I agree. I agree.
I want the stuff, you know?
Allegedly innocent says. Oh, Blue Bella, yeah. Mama Boom Boom probably illegally used her real estate license to check on property. Sue that heifer too.
I don't know what
I am
property
curious.
that kind of information is
I'd like to know.
I mean, what is?
Come on, CP. Why don't you tell me what was your point in all that? Huh? What is
I
it?
don't know why I replayed.
What's your
part
reasoning
twice.
for? I have never given you a single reason or rhyme. There's nothing that has come from me to ever make you have to worry about me putting you or your wife at threat. And you know that. So tell me why you're doing this. Who's in your ear? I know who it is.
Mm-hmm.
I know
all these losers. All these losers every day.
Yep. Here we go. Let's keep going.
Rotunda.
So sick and tired of listening to this fucking bitch.
Trigger warning. Chris Proudfoot has a very foul mouth.
Now this is Chris Proudfoot.
Chat going wild.
Sorry, everybody. I apologize, but I'm just sick and tired of listening to this fucking bitch.
Do you hear yourself?
Yeah, and I've said some shit about her before, and I don't give a fuck if she stood in front of my goddamn face. I'd say it right to her fucking face again.
No, I know you would. No, he would. He would. He would a woman. He would. That's what he does. He goes after women. He would. He absolutely would. Let's keep going.
Children. And children.
And children, yeah.
With pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what, Q? Clue? Racist, clue. You like to protect men that harm kids, don't you? Mm-hmm. You and I both know that.
Yeah.
This ain't the first one, is it? Is it, Clue?
We all know that. They all like to overlook it.
Hey, you want to go real life? I'll go real life. Just let them look your ass up.
Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go. Don't ever come at me and ever say shit about real life. I don't go real life, but here you are admitting it, and the crowd is
probably going to pay your fucking bill, like your fucking property tax bill that you're still in fucking paying.
I mean, it's like you've got your handful that get together and they collaborate and they do a great show on one side, then on the other side they get together, they collaborate, they do their great show.
Yes, brown eyes.
Not every show is for everybody.
Right.
But there is cohesion somewhere between people that they do great shows on either side or whatever you want to call it.
What?
Doesn't mean that everybody likes the shows.
What?
But they can be done.
Dude.
Then cohesion.
Why don't you do a show, Chris? Why don't you
record it?
I didn't. Yeah, and wonder why. Because it's gone now. That's why.
Katie has no contact
And I
with
gave
them.
her Seth's point of contact. I said, please reach out to him. He needs to get involved as well.
No, more like she probably asked him.
I don't know if they reached out to him.
Yes, he
I really don't. I think that article came out so fast. There were a few things in that article that were wrong. The lady said freckles on the back of the neck or not, on the front of his neck.
Oh, he didn't correct that until May.
Overall, I mean, it was exposed, so it was a great thing.
Just so everyone,
Good looks
in the chat, I just cut our chat in half, and BJ's over there begging people to record it. I just switched it to members only.
Oh, BJ didn't have to beg.
Level, so we just
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lolly. I love you. Let's play that. Lolly is amazing.
BJ's over there
Good job.
begging people to record it.
I didn't. Yeah, and wonder why. Because it's gone now. That's why. Because it's gone now. Someone reached out to Dateline to reach out to you, Ed. Justin. Which means that the Proudfoots have not reached out to any of the news stations to find Sebastian. Good to know, Proudfoot. Good to know.
Switch it to members only.
Thank you, Austin. Love you, girl.
I'm sorry. Yeah, do that.
Well, I mean, if you really want to be a client, you can private it right now and end it.
Like, I don't fucking care. Like, wake the fuck up during
Well, apparently you do care.
You obviously do care because you privated it and you put it on members only. Tell me that you don't care, Clue. Tell me. You did billboards too. Clue.
It's too. I mean, I'm going to give everybody their credit and stuff with it. And like I said, even if
you know what, none of you guys.
No, and your girl, Clue, took money for billboards and never showed where the money went. Mm-hmm. And they talk mad crap on set. Mad crap. Brittany, please read my email when you're done. Okay. Wait a minute. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Guys, out of all you guys that did billboards, none of you guys took jabs at set or at night or
Liar.
Nope, you kept it open.
Liar.
Hey, folks, guess what? I did a billboard. I did a billboard about 3 months after Sebastian went missing.
Look at that.
Look at that. That's somebody that cares. Knew about that.
There you
because
go.
It was me. I did it.
Yep.
I have pictures.
Lolly didn't brag and boast.
To them, had they known, I would have been a horrible person.
Yep.
They would have wanted it taken down.
Yep.
You didn't add subliminals. Nobody did.
And does that bother y'all?
It's tacky as hell that they did that. Disgusting.
It's tacky that you talk about. Oh my God.
Who's on parole? He's a felon sitting on parole.
Yes, Muscles and Mascara did her own.
Yeah, Muscles has been doing them. And guess what, CP? You surrounded by felons, idiot.
Mm-hmm.
So
Each and every one of them has got a criminal record.
Talk about Nick more when you got like a 2-time felon sitting right beside you.
Okay, so from all these cases, Summer Will's parents, it has been suspected that they know what happened to Summer Wills and where she's at. They're not fighting against anybody. They accept people looking for Summer. Michael Monkey Vaughn, his mother and his dad are begging for people to look for him. They want Monkey home. And they even have people that are in jail under suspicion of unaliving Monkey, and they still want to know where Monkey is. They want help finding Monkey. They still have hope that Monkey could be alive. And then look at the Proudfoot.
Hey, H. Davis, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you coming in.
The stepfather of Sebastian, Wayne Drake Rogers. This is how awful he treats the YouTubers that are seriously trying to help find Sebastian. If that doesn't pop up as a red flag, that Sebastian needs to come home. And I'm suspecting, I'm not stating a fact because I don't know it for a fact. But with all these similarities.
Thank you, H. Davis. I appreciate that. I've been wondering if they were any good or not.
I think my point at the end of the day is I think when Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers went missing, I think somebody had done their research on the Summer Wells and the Michael Monkey Vaughn case. There's so many things said. The wording is like almost word for word the same as it is in those other cases. Almost word for word. And I think that they're just mimicking those cases, trying to make it a big case. They want their 13 minutes of fame. Well, you have it, okay? Whoever is responsible for what happened to Sebastian Rogers, you have your 15 minutes of fame. Let him come home now. His dad needs him. Whoever did whatever happened to Summer Wells, please bring her home. You've had your 15 minutes of fame. Bring them home. You'll get 15 more minutes. And whatever happened to Michael Monkey Vaughn, you also have had your 15 minutes of fame. Please bring them home. Tell us where we can find these children so we can get them back to their parents. Please. Okay, I'm going to end this here. Thank y'all for watching. Did you find any other similarities that I missed? I'm sure you did. You probably know more about each one of these cases than I could ever learn. Thank you for being here.
Okay, that was the end of that video. I got it stuck on my thing, and there it went. Okay. So it kind of, I've been thinking a while about all these similarities, and this morning I just had to put them together because there's too many. I mean, I listed 15 similarities, or well, 15 things here, and 14 of them were similarities, and one of them was Chris Proudfoot being ugly toward Brittany. I don't know where he gets off thinking he can do that, but unless Brittany chooses to do something about it, we can't put a stop to it. We can't. All we can do is pray. So, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. I got to find something. I got court tomorrow, so I have to go to court. So I'll have to find something that I can research to discuss tomorrow night for my live. But I appreciate y'all being here. Do something nice for someone, even if it's just be the reason that they smile and get Locker.